Those are the three I physically saw. Yeah.
Call this meeting of the Fremont County Board of Commissioners to order. Would you please rise for an invocation to be offered by Todd Luce of Grandview Christian Church. Good morning.
Good morning. Would you bow me, please? Gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today and ask a blessing upon this meeting and upon the commissioners and all that's involved with this meeting, Lord, the logistics and the planning that goes on for our county. We pray that your blessing would be upon them and that it would be an encouragement to have everything go well for our community and our county and the different areas of the people that are involved in this area. Lord, we pray that your blessing be upon them, and as they plan to make decisions for the betterment of our county, it will be positive. We pray this in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen. And please join me in a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Commissioner Norden?
Present.
Commissioner Payne?
Present.
Commissioner Bell?
Present.
County Clerk Barr? Present. County Attorney Jackson?
Present.
County Manager Bryant?
Present.
Planning and Zoning Director Koch?
Present.
The agenda, we need to add one item, and Commissioner Bell, where do you like to add that?
We do need to add one item, Mr. Chair. We need to add under new business a resolution imposing a fire ban. I would make a motion to add that as new business item number 1, moving down all of our other business, new business, one number. That's my motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to adopt the agenda, adding a new number 1 for stage 1 fire restrictions. Other discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner Norden?
Aye.
Motion carries.
You have before you the consent agenda, and there are no public hearings to be scheduled under the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Norden?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Staff and elected officials reports. We have a report from our county manager. Good morning, Sonny.
Good morning. So I have a written report that's in the shared drive, but just a few things to highlight on that. Throughout the last couple of weeks, the commissioners and I have been meeting to discuss budget, and so we're trying to get all of that compiled and get everything ready. We'll have a public hearing. It'll actually be on November the 22nd at 10 o'clock for the budget hearing, and we'll have that on the website by the 10th of November to have the public start reviewing that. On the 17th, I met with Lisa Rowe out at the Judicial Building to discuss the potential renovations to the second floor of the Judicial Building, and we're actually looking at the possibility of going for grant opportunities next year. So I'll be discussing that with the commissioners to see what the intent is and possibly moving forward with grant funding to do the renovations on the second floor. And on Tuesday, October 18th, Tammy Childs and I met with the Department of Human Services to discuss the Fair Labor Standards Act changes. So there's been an increase in the minimum salary and a few other changes in those regulations, which does impact some county employees, and that will be effective in the 1st of December. So we'll be making those changes here over the next couple months to get that all ready. And then we had a flu clinic over at the Public Health Department on Saturday, and there were 277 vaccines that were given out, so there was a good amount of citizens involved and great volunteers that came over and helped out with that, and it went very well. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Sunny.
you. And your sales and use tax report.
All right, and I'll put that up on the... Okay, so we have the sales and use tax numbers through August. So the month of August, the sales and use tax the retail sales tax came in at $433,221, which is $44,231 more than August of last year. Year to date, we're up $124,628. The auto use tax collections in the month of September came in at $88,618, which is up $2,031 from September of last year. And year to date, we're up $47,316. The construction use tax in the month of September came in at $24,805, which is $13,858 more than September of last year. And year to date, we're up $18,550. And the lodging tax in the month of August came in at $5,729, which, as I've said, we have a few people that are getting caught up on reporting. So we've collected $90,042, which is about $10,000 less than last year at this point. So we're still following up with a few lodging tax entities. The Sheriff's Department 1%, the retail sales tax came in at $288,814, which is up $29,487 from August of last year. Year to date, it's up $83,085. The auto use tax for the Sheriff's Department came in at $59,079 in September, which is up $1,354 from September of last year. And year to date, it's up $31,544. And then the construction use tax came in at $16,537, which is up $9,366 from September of last year. And year to date, we're up $14,029. And that's all. So as we've had discussions, in our budget process, these numbers are looking really good, but unfortunately, everything else is also going up. So hopefully we'll keep up with things as these numbers continue to increase. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sunny.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other staff and elected officials reports. Commissioners?
May I, Mr. Chair?
Oh,
Please do.
Madam Clerk,
Busy time of year for our office. I have lots to say.
I'm sure you do.
In-person voting started yesterday. We had a really good turnout already for in-person voting, and then also we took in over 2,000 ballots yesterday alone, so we're really impressed with the turnout, so keep those ballots coming in. One thing I wanted to remind everyone of, though, is that we have the 100-foot limits signs up on this building, and yesterday that seemed to be a problem, so that's why I'm bringing it up. Throughout the entire building, we were finding paperwork and door hangers and pamphlets of people's favorite candidates everywhere. And those are not allowed in this building during voting. They are not allowed within 100 feet of this building. You can't wear hats, shirts, pins, pens, anything that has anything to do with anything on this November's ballot cannot be within 100 feet of this building. So please leave all of that at home or go elsewhere, at least 100 feet away from this building, please. And thank you.
All right. Any questions of the clerk? I just note that the Board of County Commissioners is seeking letters of interest from persons who might be interested in serving on the Fremont County Fair Board. And the deadline for letters of interest, if you would be interested in serving on the Fair Board, is Thursday, November 12th at 12 noon. And we expect to appoint anywhere from 1 to 3 new Fair Board members, depending upon how many letters of interest we receive, and Fair Board members would serve 3-year terms. So if you're so inclined, we need those letters by November 10th or emails as such. Any other announcements? All right, opportunity for citizens to address the Board of Commissioners on items that are not on today's agenda. I have one request to speak from George Story. Good
Morning, George.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to, I'm interested in knowing the status of the Junkins fire. I know it's in Pueblo and Custer County and Fremont counties helping fight it also.
All I know is what I get on the daily reports from our emergency manager, and they're, over 50% contained, and there's still a lot of burning going on in the interior of the fire, and I know it's been quite a challenge for those folks up in Custer County. They've had more than their share of wildfires in recent years, and I know it's interesting to me to look at the, when we first got a map from emergency management, to look at how this particular fire crisscrossed into the paths of other fires around the Wetmore area, Mason Gulch and some of those others. So, and it's certainly been a challenge to the people in the Beulah Valley as well. So that's
think
about all I
it's-
can tell you, George.
I think it's a little over 18,000 acres. Is that right, Sheriff? Do you know?
That's bigger than the
You don't-
Hayden Pass fire. That's bigger than that one, but 55% contained is headed in the right direction. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, thanks, George.
Thank you, George. Anyone else want to address the board on items that are not on today's agenda? Seeing none. Item of new business, we are considering a resolution as added on the agenda today to impose stage 1 fire restrictions at the request of Sheriff Biker, who appears today in his hunter's beard.
But he appears. That is the important factor.
Was the trip successful, or the latest trip successful?
Actually, I haven't been yet, but
Oh, okay.
I heard when the warm weather's over, it's going to be cold, so I was just getting an early
All
start.
right. All right, well,
My
some,
wife hates it. It'll be coming off soon.
some of our neighboring counties have already enacted. Matter of fact, I read, was it yesterday, is it one of the counties went directly to stage 2?
Correct. And then the U.S. Forest Service has enacted some bans as well in other portions of their districts. So, yeah, unfortunately, I was trying to recall, but I think this is about the latest in the year I've ever had to talk about and ask you all for fire restrictions. But given the forecast that you already know about, and most people, that there just doesn't seem to be any relief anytime in the next, 15 days, I believe. I think it's the prudent thing to do, and yes, many of the surrounding counties are considering, if not had already gone back into restrictions. We talked about the level, and I'm not sure which one you put on there, but I anticipated the lowest level at this point. Hopefully that will be appropriate. We're in the process, after today's board meeting, if you approve the resolution for the ban, of getting the signage changed, which will take us a little bit to get some staff out there. There's a lot of signage. And I'm sure it'll have some impact on hunters, but I think that's the point, to help protect for any further wildland fires. So for George's question, by the way, we don't have any firefighting assets for suppression, but the Sheriff's Office contributed a lot of support to Shannon Byerly and Custer County Sheriff's Office on evacuations and road closures. After the Type 1 team arrived, then they were able to handle those. But we did go help him, and Custer County Sheriff's Office helped us a great deal on the Hayden Pass fire. And so the sheriffs try to take care of one another, especially the surrounding sheriffs. So yeah, that was the effort that we had helped on the Junkins fire. So.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So,
Okay, stage 1?
yeah, correct.
And I think in the last 6 weeks, maybe about a third of an inch of precipitation in the Canyon City area. So it's extremely dry, and the drought maps show that at least the southern half of Fremont County is in unusually dry. We're not in a drought stage yet, but we've moved seriously into extremely dry conditions. So all these things parallel. We have a resolution before you.
Do we have a resolution number?
31.
31. Mr. Chair, I move to approve Resolution 31, which effectively suspends the suspension of the fire ban, which means the fire ban once again is imposed at a level 1.
Second.
Motion and second to adopt Resolution 31, imposing Stage 1 fire restrictions because of the extremely dry conditions, and basically Stage 1 fire restrictions prohibit any outdoor burning, including agricultural burning, and as far as hunters are concerned, how does this impact hunters out in the field, Sheriff? Is it
Because any campfires they have would have to be in a
enclosed pit?
enclosed pit, yeah, or a constructed pit versus rock rings. So that's probably the biggest impact to them.
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner Norton?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item under new business. Consideration of a proclamation to declare the month of October as Domestic Violence Prevention Month, and Tara Kane is here from Family Crisis Services. Good morning.
Good morning.
You have a proclamation you would like to read?
I do. Do you have the one that was submitted to you in front of you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Whereas 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence during her lifetime, whereas approximately 15.5 million children are exposed to domestic violence every year, whereas when a family member is abused, it can have long-term damaging effects on the victim that also leave a mark on the family, friends, and the community at large. Whereas families are indispensable to a stable society, and they should be a place of support to instill responsibility and values in the next generation. Whereas violence against women and children is a prevalent social ill due to the historical imbalance of power in gender and in age. However, domestic violence is widespread and is devastating to society as a whole and impacts men as well. Whereas the problem of domestic violence is not confined to any group or groups of people, but crosses all economic, racial, gender, educational, religious, and societal barriers, and is sustained by societal indifference. Whereas the crime of domestic violence violates an individual's privacy, dignity, security, and humanity due to the systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control and or abuse. Whereas victims should have help to find the compassion, comfort, and healing that they need, and domestic abusers should be punished to the full extent of the law. Whereas victims of violence should have access to medical and legal services, counseling, emergency and transitional housing, and other supportive services so that they can escape the cycle of abuse. Whereas we encourage domestic violence victims and their families to seek assistance from the appropriate victims services organizations such as Family Crisis Services. Whereas it is important to recognize the compassion and dedication of the individuals who provide services to victims of domestic violence and work to increase public understanding of this significant problem. Whereas local programs, state coalitions, national organizations, and other agencies nationwide are committed to increasing public awareness of domestic violence and its prevalence to eliminating it through prevention and education. Whereas important partnerships have been formed among criminal and juvenile justice agencies, healthcare providers, allied professionals, and victim services to assist victims of domestic violence and their families. Whereas we dedicate ourselves to protecting vulnerable members of our community. Whereas Fremont County has a moral obligation to work to prevent domestic violence, address its brutal and destructive effects, and make ending domestic violence a local priority. Want me to stop there?
That's fine. And then it says, now therefore the Fremont County Board of Commissioners would proclaim the month of October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month and urge all citizens to actively support Family Crisis Services work towards the elimination of domestic violence. And the chair will entertain a motion to adopt.
Mr. Chair, make a motion that we approve the proclamation declaring the month of October as Domestic Violence Prevention Month.
I will second that, just with the note that I was able to spend a few years on the board for Family Crisis Services and found out I truly had no idea what a problem it continues to be in today's society. So it was a real eye-opener for me, and I just would like to applaud you and your organization for continuing the hard work that you do, not only with your efforts to stop domestic violence, but also the support and the strength that you give to those who have been affected. So I just would like to say thank you.
Thank you.
All right, motion and a second to adopt the proclamation. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Norton?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Tara, for being here. Next item under new business is consideration to approve transfer of ownership for special review use permit, SRU 15-001, Play Dirty ATV Tours from Jackie Tripp to co-owners William Scrimshaw of Penrose and David Prine of Florence. Did I pronounce Prine right?
Certainly did, thank you, sir.
All right.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Good
And you
morning.
are?
Dave Bryan.
All right.
Play Dirty ATV Tour. And we just want to see if we can get this transferred to ownership on that special use. Existing buildings are already there, and we're ready to go.
Okay.
Not really any much more than that.
Department report.
All right, the department reviewed this request. We don't have any concerns. They did provide a property lease. They have basically bought and purchased the Play Dirty and not the property, so they will be leasing it from Jackie Tripp. They understand all of the requirements as part of all this, and so there should be no issues.
Okay, any questions of Matt or of the applicant?
I just would like to note probably kind of the question that he just asked, but your letter does state both parties listed above are aware of the existing SRU and assume the responsibility for the performance of all obligations, conditions, and guarantees that are originally set forth in the existing special review use permit. So I am just guaranteeing that you actually know what's in that permit. You agree to abide by the permit as it currently stands.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, 100%.
All right. I have no further questions, but I
Any?
have a motion.
I'll just ask, any planned changes in your operation?
Just expansion to maybe some other areas, but nothing on that location itself.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
All right, Mr. Chair, I move to approve the transfer of ownership for SRU permit 15-001, Play Dirty from owner Jackie Tripp to co-owners William Scrimshaw and David Prine.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the transfer of the SRU from Jackie Tripp to William Scrimshaw and David Prine for Play Dirty ATVs. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner Norton?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Good luck, gentlemen.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have fun. All right. Next is consideration of a resolution to adopt amended Fremont County medical marijuana business licensing regulations within unincorporated Fremont County. And in conjunction with that would be the inclusion of terminating the two-year or 24-month moratorium on the Fremont County medical marijuana business licenses. The Board of County Commissioners has reviewed this to some extent over recent months and now have this set of regulations with some changes for consideration. Was published on our Fremont County website for public dissemination and review. I'll ask the county attorney to highlight the important changes that the board is considering today in the amended regulations.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
There aren't a lot of changes in the licensing regulations, but over the last year and a half, the board has had, and Planning and Zoning Department has had an opportunity to see where the problem areas are with the existing regulations and the existing medical marijuana businesses. So in order for the regulations to work more smoothly and be clearer to understand, there's a few changes that were made. One is with respect to desirable sites for OPC operations, which are cultivation operations. And it has been determined that they probably work best in rural areas of the county on larger acreages and no closer than 1,000 feet to residences. Most of the complaints that the county receives comes from OPC operations that are sited too close to residences. And the reason that this occurred in the first place is because the businesses started up before the regulations were enacted by the board. So some were already in existence at their current locations before the board adopted licensing regulations. And rather than forcing them to change location, which is questionable at best from a legal perspective, they were licensed for the existing sites. So it's given the county an opportunity to see where problematic sites exist. So that's one change. They're not required to locate in those rural areas on larger acreages, and there may be other sites that are perfectly fine to house these types of businesses, but that seems to be the types of cultivation operations that we receive the fewest complaints about are those in the more rural areas. We added a standard for odor mitigation and detection of odor off-site at a 7-to-1 ratio with equipment, instruments, or devices that are certified by the Colorado Air Pollution Division to determine intensity of odor. So that standard of a 7-to-1 ratio is added into the regulations. We've added an application requirement for submission of a detailed site plan that shows structures, grow areas, processing areas, and the like on these sites. And we've added a requirement to submit a drainage report and have drainage facilities such as retention, detention, swales, and the like to help control drainage water discharge, surface water discharge from sites. The licensing authority review provisions in Article 8 have been adjusted somewhat with some standards imposed. Identifying land uses within 500 feet that may be incompatible with the medical marijuana facility being proposed for licensing. Number of other medical marijuana facilities of similar type within a quarter-mile radius of the proposed facility. And then statements and documentation regarding the ability of the medical marijuana facility to comply with performance standards and requirements of licensing, and the ability of the facility to provide reasonable accommodations for employees, off-street parking and loading zones, and the ability to provide reasonable landscaping improvements, buffers, setbacks, parking lot screenings, and facility screening. And then additionally, they need to disclose the proposed size of a proposed OPC, including plant counts. The county does not intend to regulate plant counts in any way, but we need to know for purposes of land use and siting how large the operation is going to be. Clarification to what a modification of premise is. It's anything that materially or substantially alters the licensed premise as provided in state regulations, so that language is consistent. And then Article 11, under violations and complaints, the department finds that it's running all over the county when there aren't complaints coming from the immediate neighborhood around the facility. So in an attempt to prioritize the more serious complaints from the general complaints, priority will be given to complaints from persons who reside or work within a quarter mile of the facility being complained about. And then other complaints will be investigated, but they will be a lower priority, and the department will have more discretion to determine investigative techniques and tactics that will be followed with respect to the facilities. So essentially, the regulations and the enforcement of the regulations are designed to protect the neighborhood where the facility is located, and not necessarily complaints from people who live miles away and aren't immediately affected by the facility. Then there's an affirmative defense. Since we have standards for detection of odor, there is a defense available to licensees. If equipment breaks down or there's some type of operational problem that wasn't anticipated, that can be a defense to an odor violation or complaint. And those are the major changes that were done. Those changes were done based on actual observation over the term of the moratorium, which has been about 18 months of the 24-month moratorium.
All right. Any other comments from Mr. Koch and the department that regulates or at least administers?
The changes that we've proposed really helps us with enforcement. Giving us a value for the odor is really going to be significant for us. We've gone through state training. We have the equipment now to go out and enforce that. So we will be visiting all of the sites and checking on the odor numbers on that. And I think that's been the biggest complaint we've had in our office is the odor. And so we've really made an attempt to try to make that enforceable and create a situation that we can document and follow through with. So.
Okay. Any questions initially of commissioners of staff before I take some public comment?
Nothing from me at this time.
Okay. This is not a public hearing, but the chairman chooses to offer citizens an opportunity to address the board regarding both these amended regulations as well as lifting of the moratorium. And I have 3 requests to speak. Again, as I said at the outset, if anyone wishes to address the board, if you'd fill out a speaker slip either at the back table or on the podium. First request to speak is from Liz Romansky.
You might make note that it is 10 o'clock and we'll hold our public hearing after this.
Oh, yes, we do have a public hearing scheduled at 10, and we know we have 2 people who are patiently waiting. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Elizabeth Quinn Romansky. I go by Liz Romansky. As you can see, I'm blind. I am a blind, service-connected veteran. That means I lost my sight due to the military involvement that I had of 10 years of active duty Navy, okay? I'm not asking for your sympathy. I'm simply explaining my position. Being blind means I can't drive. Safer for all of you. And I have lived in Fremont County for 7 years. I moved here from Des Moines and established residency and gladly pay my taxes. After this meeting, I'm running upstairs to pay another $400 in taxes. I have been treated by the VA for my chronic pain, my blindness, variety of conditions, and their recommendation is Motrin and Vicodin. They did a very good job of enabling me to become addicted to Vicodin. And I choose to not be addicted to opiates. I choose to use medical marijuana to treat my medical conditions. I work to spend my tax dollars locally. It means whenever I can shop locally, I do. I buy a car locally, I do. Whatever the case may be. I bought a house in this county. So I'm excited to be paying all these taxes. What my issue is that I'm having a comprehension problem when it comes to the hindrance of the local medical marijuana facilities. I've been a patient at Fremont County Cannabis for several years, and I don't understand why the county appears to be hindering their growth rather than helping it. All of the tax dollars that I pay every time I go to Rocky Mountain Cannabis or Fremont County Cannabis, Rooms to Grow, bless their hearts. I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm not even asking for an explanation. I'd like to know, what can I do? What can I do to help the facilities in Fremont County to treat me as a medical marijuana patient? What can I do? That's all.
Okay, thank you for your...
I have one, I'm sorry,
Go
if I
ahead.
may. I just have one comment. Ms. Romansky, I would like to thank you for your service to our country. I have a son who served as well, and I know it doesn't always end well. Let's just say that. I know it doesn't always end well. So I just would like to let you know, thank you. We do appreciate your service.
Thank you.
Next to speak is Dana Sue. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dana Sue. I am the general manager at Fremont County Cannabis. First of all, I just want to say thank you guys. You've been working with us for the last 6 years pretty diligently. I think we've done well together over the last couple years. Back in April, we lost our grow. Had nothing to do with the county. The county has worked with us since April, trying to figure out how to be able to stay in the county, to continue to grow here, to be able to benefit our patients who are already here. And it's at no fault of theirs that we haven't been able to expand. And so I just want to make that clear to everybody. I just hope that from here forward that this moratorium does get lifted so that we can expand our operations and keep them here in Fremont County. By being able to do that, we can continue to hire people in the county. We continue to give tax money to the county. The $10,000 fee, the $7,500 annual renewal fee will all stay in this county, so it'll benefit people that way. I want to really say thank you to the support. We've had great support from the other medical marijuana facilities here in town, which is great. We can all come together and really work together. And also just from the patients, just the outcry. I know you guys have heard from a lot of them and how important we are to them, but they're very important to us as well, and we want to be able to continue to serve them. We will do our best if you allow this moratorium to be lifted. Fremont County is huge. We understand that there was a big problem in the beginning with the regulations and with the production, I guess, in Penrose and the Copper Gulch area. We don't want to cause problems. I don't think that we have caused any problems so far. We want to make sure that we are doing it right. We don't want to be a hindrance to any neighbors, to any other businesses. And so we just hope that you will work with us. We'll continue to do the best that we can to make sure that our facility is good to go and causes no issues. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I think it should be clarified that you lost your grow license in Chaffee County, not Fremont County.
We did. We were licensed in Chaffee County. We lost it over a lease. It had nothing to do with any violations with the state or the county.
Right.
The man just decided to renew the lease with somebody new. And so some people get confused because we have our existing dispensary here, and it makes them think that our grow should be existing as well, but it's not. It's a new business, and that's why we weren't able to go into effect in April, and that's why we need this moratorium to lift so that we can enact a new business license to allow us to grow.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. You're probably going to say the same thing I am.
I just was going to make note that I do appreciate your attitude coming in today, and wish that perhaps that attitude had been more prevalent with some of your patients, because this board has taken more grief over the fact that you lost a Chaffee County license that we were all blamed for over and over and over again, to the tune of seeing emails and seeing social media that talked about how we all need to be replaced, we should be recalled because we let you lose your lease and we would not replace it for you. And so I want to make perfectly clear, we have taken a lot of grief over this particular issue because someone did not make it clear to them that the lease that was lost was in Chaffee County. And it got so bad on social media, I have deactivated all of my social media accounts.
Well, I apologize. Of course, we don't ever encourage anybody to be disrespectful. I think we are very honest. We put basically everything out there stating that we lost the grow because of a lease, that we approached you guys back in April. We were told by the commissioners and by the director that the moratorium had the possibility of lifting in a more timely manner, And because of that, we had high expectations that it was going to be lifted in a more timely manner, and it caused some major problems for our business to the point where we almost lost our entire business. We could have went elsewhere and opened a grow elsewhere, but in hopes of being able to stay here in Fremont County, we didn't do that. And so I'm sorry that if you felt disrespected, that people were disrespectful to you. We will not be disrespectful to you. We want to be able to work with you, and we encourage people as well to be respectful and work with y'all.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I also would like to note that these restrictions or this moratorium actually was not scheduled to be lifted until April.
Right.
So lifting it in October instead of waiting until next April, I actually think is in a pretty timely manner.
Okay.
So,
And
thank you.
And hopefully this will answer Ms. Romanski's question too of your
Correct. That's what I was trying
comprehension
to clarify.
issue. Okay.
All right, and I have another written request
Thank you, Dana.
from Clarice Roney.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name's Clarice Roning. I live in Penrose at 856 D Street. I live between two commercial grows. When the new regulations came out, I read them and read them and read them with extreme disappointment. I really thought there was going to be something included that might help the situation that I am faced with in Penrose, and I don't see anything there. I am within a quarter mile of the two grows, that's definite. I don't like that restriction. We go to the First Southern Baptist Church, which is right next door to Apple Valley Greenhouse. I don't live there, but I do feel that I should have the right to complain and have someone listen and care when that place stinks. And I don't feel that this gives us the opportunity. My husband has breathing problems, as you very well know. I've been taking him up to National Jewish. We've made 10 trips up there so far. We're not done. I have a letter from them even pertaining, a very brief letter, I will say, stating that the marijuana odor does affect his breathing. There are many days that he is a captive in his own home. He can't come out because this even is not helped by wearing a mask. So my emotions have been all over the board with this. I do believe that there's some good in medical marijuana. I do believe it's being abused and not used properly here, but that's a different story. I have a great problem with the odor. We don't have that many ways that we can get out of Penrose sometimes. And on Highway 50, we should not be welcomed into our community by smelling marijuana, no matter whether you're eastbound or westbound, coming in from either Canyon or Pueblo. Quite often you can smell the marijuana on Highway 50. And that is not a very pleasant smell to be welcoming people to our community. This isn't what we want to be known for. And I really wish that you would take another look at the restrictions and regulations and put some teeth into it, see some consequences when they break the rules, not just have a hearing for them. That doesn't do any good. Please consider the people in Penrose and do something to help us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Clarice. Rhonda Sherardo. Good morning.
Good morning, Council. Thank you so much for letting me jump in here real quick.
Good morning.
Good morning. I just wanted to mention I am one of the 3 owners of Rocky Mountain Cannabis, that is the new grow and medical facility in Canyon City. My business, I think this topic in general is something that the community is embracing, that it's here. People use marijuana, they use it medically, they use it recreationally, and we need to have some guidelines. We need to have some restrictions. We need to have some smell ordinances. Everybody here wants to play by the rules, but they also want to have their own choice of how they take care of their pain, their glaucoma, and all the other items that marijuana can help and aid in healing. And I just want to mention that to Debbie specifically, you were very passionate about indicating that this board has heard umpteen, I don't even know how many, Debbie, emails,
I don't know
phone
either,
calls,
but it's been
messages.
hundreds. Yes.
But I'd like to put a positive spin on that, in that it's people that are taking action. Everyone misunderstands why maybe that they were so angry with the county, and it wasn't your fault. But the point is that they were speaking out for the FCC business as a whole, that we need to help this business maintain their patients and help their employees keep their jobs. And the point of all of that really was in support of FCC, having this committee lift the moratorium simply so that these people can continue to grow and provide the fantastic product that they do to all of these medical patients. So I just wanted you to take a more positive spin on that I'm so sorry that came across as your fault. It's not. Definitely, we're just here to say, let's please lift this moratorium for all these people that gave their voices to emails and messages and phone calls and anger, because the anger was maybe misdirected. Let's not punish this business and say, no, you can't grow, which will inevitably, it will make them lose their license. They will go out of business. And that is so unfortunate for this county. So I'm just here to say thank you for your service. Thank you for listening to the complaints. And let's put a positive spin on all that negativity, in that their voice just wanted to be heard, that please don't put this business, Fremont County Cannabis, out. Allow them to lift the moratorium, allow you guys to lift the moratorium so that they can continue to service this county in a positive, regulated, non-smelly way. Thank you for your time.
People are passionate.
Hold on.
People are passionate. I absolutely will agree with you on that. Thank you.
I guess it's a good thing that I don't engage in social media. Otherwise, you probably see an angrier chairman than perhaps I've ever displayed. I got some emails, and I dismissed them as, I think the one that angered me was that somehow somebody was accusing this board of making promises. We indicated to several people that we were considering lifting the moratorium ahead of time, but as long as the moratorium was in place through April of 2017, didn't matter what kind of promises somebody perceived, and somehow that gave those complainers permission to distort the facts. And that's what ticked me off. And then you go on social media, based upon what I've heard, and spread it as what you perceive as gospel. So learn from this. There's no animosity towards a licensee or an applicant. But how you act going forward could have an impact on those future applications. As far as Ms. Romansky's concerns about hindrances that the board places on medical marijuana, you can see, and we've had other emails of concern other than Ms. Roney's about whether these regulations go far enough or do enough to regulate. And I don't think we have taken any position to stand in hindrance of the medical marijuana industry and those that provide those patients that deem that they need medical marijuana. Ours is to try to find some balance between those who need and use and those who put up with the the existence of these operations in their neighborhood. And so I think these regulations as put forth with the amendments will give this Board of Commissioners a certain amount of discernment to consider neighborhood impacts. And I understand Ms. Roney's concerns about regulations and enforcement, but it was never, I don't think, from the outset of a moratorium, we were going to be limited as to what we could do to regulate those already under license and permits. The focus of the moratorium and amending regulations was to how do we deal with new applicants and where they are located and how they get along with their neighbors. And that's the thrust of the amendment. And hopefully, and like I say, the Board of Commissioners will have certain discernment and will be able to hear from all sides on those public hearings that come forth on new applications. All right. I got that off my chest.
Well done.
Anyone else? Those were the 4 requests I had to speak. I'll give it one more chance for anybody else. Seeing none.
Perhaps
George?
you have one.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm against THC any way you stack it, just for the record.
All right. Thank you, George.
Thank you, George.
All right. We have resolution number
32.
amending regulations of medical marijuana business licensing.
I would like to just briefly give just a couple of comments. I am not going to sit and grandstand, but I just would like to take note. I think it's very important that with this new language about locations, I believe it strengthens our position as a board when we choose to deny a new license simply because of the application site. I think the changes also to the licensing authority review also give us a freer hand in approving or not approving a particular site. So I think that these are some very, very good changes.
Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve resolution number 32, the adoption of amended Fremont County medical marijuana business licensing regulations within unincorporated Fremont County in the termination of the 24-month moratorium on Fremont County medical marijuana business licenses.
I will second that, just with the note that if we as a board determine these regulations are not working, we have the ability to come back at any time and review and revise and redo them.
All right. With a motion and a second to adopt resolution 32. Other discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Norton?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We are way past, and if you would, we have business to conduct, so if you would exit quietly. Public hearing was scheduled for 10 a.m., so I'm going to call that public hearing. Request for major modification of a conditional use permit, CUP 10-002, J&J Stone Pit Number 1, removal of landscaping sandstone by Crowthco Incorporated, property along Red Canyon Road and Garden Park Road, north of Canyon City. Dr. Angela Bellantoni is representing the applicant.
Good morning.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Commissioners, staff, council.
Would you wait maybe about 15 seconds?
Let's get the door closed.
Thank you.
12 worked.
You may proceed.
Good morning. Thank you, and I am Dr. Angela Bellantoni, the representing Kraus Co., and we have with us this morning Mr. Mike Kraus and Mr. J.D. Kraus, partners in J.J. Stone Pit and this operation. This is a request for major modification to the existing CUP approved in 2010 for the Stone Pit. The major modification is an expansion of the proposed boundary from a triangular boundary of approximately 35 acres out to encompassing the parcels, the abutting parcels to the east and west. Do I need to shut that door?
It's shutting again.
Okay. So the increase in acreage is from 35 to 115. Please note within that, first of all, phase 1 will stay, I can't read that number. Is it 35 or 15 acres? It's 15.
15.
Thank you, sorry. It does include buffer areas for the residences to the south, so they're protected. That's that view shed buffer area. And
Go ahead.
the operation will be consistent with existing mining methods. Existing truck volume is the same. Existing production limits are the same. What this does is allows the applicant to follow the reserve. This is placed in.
People are moving in and out, and the door is very slow in closing, so that's why it waxes and it wanes.
Aren't you glad you stuck with mining and?
Amen. And I am very passionate about that. Where was I? Everything's consistent with the existing operation, with the exception of the boundary. And with that, I am going to sit down and let our director discuss this because I have nothing to say.
Okay. Mr. Coe?
All right. On October 4th, the Planning Commission did review this. They did recommend approval of the modification. The modification is of an existing CUP, J&J Stone. The recommended conditions will remain the same throughout. Nothing really changes in any of the conditions. The recommended contingency was compliance with any requirements of the Fremont County engineer based upon the review of the revised application. We have since received a letter from our county engineer, Don Moore, that says he is good to go with everything. They have submitted all the documentation, and so we're good on that. So there are no recommended contingencies as part of this approval. There was a discussion as part of the Planning Commission, and Mike may want to just hit this a little bit. Mike is giving or allowing BLM, I believe it is, to maybe in the future create a parking area just off of the main county road there for parking and a trailhead to tie into some trails to the north. There was some concern about future impact to his site there, and that was discussed, and the Planning Commission felt that since he was donating the land and he was there first, there shouldn't be any impacts in the future. So beyond that, if there's any discussion on that.
And that land is not included in the permit boundary. It is the parcel to the south and next to Red Canyon Road where the access is, and that is not in that particular area in discussion with BLM is not inside of the conditional use.
How
permit.
close is it? Do you know?
I can show you on the map.
It's
There
right
you go.
in there.
You got a laser this time.
So can you give me a reference of how large of a space we're looking at? I mean, I can't say, oh, it's this far away, but you're not going to have any problems.
It's actually maybe quarter mile from the impact site.
And it's going to be maybe a quarter acre, not very big. It's just a parking area for people to use the trailhead.
And this connects the Oil Well Flats recreation area. Well, I commend you for that. That's fantastic.
Anything else, Matt?
That's all I have to say.
All right, I'm not going to miss the opportunity to give could get Mr. Krauth up here.
Morning.
Mike, would
morning.
you take the pointer? See if you know how to use that. No, actually, I want to go back to the original map. Okay. The original permit area, can you show where you've removed most of your landscaping stone in the original permit area?
Right in this area.
Okay, and then your expansion will see stone removed from what area?
Well, in my lifetime, it'll probably be in maybe this area.
Okay. So when we originally approved your permit, there was a neighbor who had a home on a ridge, if I recall.
Yeah, it's John Waters, and his property abuts our property in this section here. His site that he was going to build his home was here, but he's built the house since here. And if you notice these ridges right here, these are large embankments, natural embankments of dirt, just hills basically, and they obstruct his view of any operations here. We're good neighbors with him, so we're in contact periodically.
So he's not said anything about this expansion application?
He's in favor of it.
Okay.
I spoke with him about short-term and long-term plans and different things.
All right, I just, because he was the only, and he wasn't an opponent on your original application. He was just concerned about what kind of view shed he was going to be impacted by. And I think at the time, at least I had a concern whether we were overreacting to one person's concern about view shed. But you were going out of your way at that time to placate him, which I thought was admirable. But I just wanted to review where we were on the original application with that neighbor.
Yeah, when I talked to him, basically the things that we discussed were creating an opportunity for the public, which is kind of a good stewardship, in our opinion, as a company, to allow the public access and at the same time to give ourselves some breathing room, not only us as a company in mining, but even Mr. Waters, because the BLM is on this side of the property, so what we're looking at here, I believe, is, I think these are
Here's
Mr.
his house
Waters.
right here.
No, I think his house is here, and then this is a different neighbor, I believe. I think
you're
these
up in
two
here.
parcels belong to Mr. Waters, and then this one, I don't remember these folks' name. Loveland?
Okay.
But at any rate, in our discussions, I just explained to him basically that if we worked with the BLM and the local biking community and the local public, for that matter, to allow this landlocked position. Let me get my bearings here. Basically, there's an old trail. Am I doing this right? Is it up through here? So there's an old trail that basically it was probably a road that was built in the 40s or 50s when they were doing uranium exploration. And it ties into some of the most beautiful country that's publicly owned up in this area. Unfortunately, the public has no access without crossing beams. So that is by and large one of our reasons for this expansion, is we want to protect ourselves and our future, for people that won't understand down the road how they gained access to that location in the first place. So. But as far as Mr. Waters goes, we have an ongoing positive relationship with him. We've granted him private access off of his property into our property if he wants to go hiking or biking or whatever. And basically, his position is we're good neighbors, so we'll just keep it that way.
Okay. Did Dr. Bellantoni walk that old trail to get a real feel for the property in this application? Thank you, Mike. Any other questions for the applicant or of staff? This is a public hearing. Anyone wish to address the board regarding this application? All right, seeing none, I will close the public hearing and ask the board for their desires.
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve major modification of conditional use permit 10-002 J&J Stone Pit number 1. This motion includes the recommended contingencies, A through T. It does conditions A through T, as well as waiver requests for buffing and landscaping, surfacing, and lighting.
Commissioner Bell, that would be resolution 33.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 33 to approve the major modification of the CUP 10-002 for Crowthco. And any other discussion? Note that my replacement after January is in the audience, so he knows the discussion that we had here today and what your future intentions are. So hopefully that provides him some background. Roll call.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner Norton?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
All ours. Good luck on your expansion, Michael.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Item number 5 under new business, consideration of change orders 8 and 9 to the Fremont County Justice Center kitchen and laundry renovation. Sonny? Is the sheriff going to address? Did you address these change orders?
I don't really need to.
Okay. What's the value of the change orders?
So we have 2 change orders before you today. The first one is for a shower demolition and installation of a new insert and light fixture. So this is just outside of the original area that we were going to do the renovation project, but this is definitely an area that needs to be remodeled as well. So while they're there and doing this, they've proposed to actually get this done as well. The cost of that is $10,338.02. And then the next change order is a temp kit on the dishwasher, and that is going to be an additional $1,289.07.
And the architect did provide us with some sketch drawings of the shower area that needs to be replaced. And I guess it was discussed originally, but decided to add it at this point.
Correct.
Any questions for Sonny and or the sheriff? You can ask the sheriff questions to see if he knows what's going on out there.
My construction project manager is not here today. It was, we should have included that in ours, that area student has it already, it's used a lot. And yeah, it's a good change, and we should have included it, when we set up, work together.
Okay, this will be basically a stainless steel shower area for inmates when they first are booked in. Is that correct? All right.
And we
Any other?
Oh, we can do the motion, the two of them together?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Chair will entertain a motion.
Okay. Make a motion that we approve the change orders number 8 and number 9. Number 8 for $10,338.02. Number 9 for $1,289.07.
Second.
And authorize the chairman's signature.
And authorize chairman's signature.
Motion is second to approve change orders 8 and 9 to the kitchen and laundry jail remodel. Other discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Norton?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And finally, item 6 under new business, consideration filling a vacancy on the Fremont County Heritage Commission.
Yes, we had a vacancy arise, and Lisa Stutz from she's a museum director for the Royal Gorge Regional Museum and History Center. She put in a letter to be a member of the Fremont County Heritage Commission. I believe she'd be a positive member. So I'll make a motion that we approve Lisa Stutz be on the Fremont County Heritage Commission she will fill the term ending January 1st, 2019.
I second that. I think Lisa will be an amazing addition to this board.
All right, a motion and a second to appoint to the Fremont County Heritage Commission of the name of Lisa Stutz of the Royal Gorge Regional Museum and History Center. Other discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Norton?
Aye.
Motion carries.
There being no further business to come before this board, we stand adjourned.
I'm pretty sure. Clear.
We'll pick it up and suggest that we should start closing businesses that are compliant with the law.
Get up again and say it all over. So I'm with Matt. I was surprised. I thought that was going to be a much longer process than it actually was.
And I'm just really surprised that you haven't